Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Lebanon Board of Park Commissioners meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and let the record show that all members are present except Jessica Lawler. First item on the agenda is election of officers. Right now, the officers are Karen Galvin, Secretary, Diane Scott, Vice Chair, and I'm Chair. So I'm opening up the floor for nominations for officers.
I'd like to nominate Lori for president. Chair.
Okay.
A second.
Okay. With that nomination, let's take a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Vice President or Chair?
I'll nominate Diane.
Okay, I have Diane Scott in a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. Now for Secretary.
That's the easy one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the easy one. Well, because Taylor does all the minutes and everything. So do I have a nomination for Secretary? Karen.
Do you feel up to that? Are you going to be? Yes. Have any nominations over here?
No.
Take care of them.
Okay, I have a nomination for Karen. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oh, yeah.
I'll second.
Sorry. So I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. If everyone's had a chance to look at the minutes from the January 3rd meeting, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carried. On the agenda this evening, under old business, Kevin Krulik is going to give us a project update.
Thank you very much. Good evening. I went ahead and printed off my report, so I gave each of you a copy of that, and I can make sure Taylor gets that sent out to you all digitally, so you have that if you would like.
Thanks.
But let's go through the project list right now. We'll start with the current active project for the Parks Department is the bike park project, as you're aware. We're still at a total project budget about 1.9 million funded from grant funding and old sanitation funds. Since we've last met, just keeping track of the completed tasks, we have the bid award complete for pump tracks. We've done all the trail flagging and layout with the designer. In fact, that produced some changes, and there's an updated plan in the package that you can see. Probably not anything on there that jumps out at you. There's not big changes, but definitely those trail locations were field fit based on the terrain and different obstacles we saw as we walked. Fencing on the perimeter, at least on the west, north, and east sides, is now complete, and the prairie seeding is complete. And happy to say, the prairie seeding as well. Some of the turf grass is coming in fairly nicely, or at least was coming in, in the warm fall and December we had. Current tasks, we rebid for the third time the parking lot package, trying to get more aggressive and competitive pricing there. The pricing did go down. Unfortunately, it's not fully where we need it to be within that $1.9 million budget, but it's provided us with some options, and we're going through some conversations with the contractors as we speak, and there's some more detailed cost breakdown in the report I gave you, but I don't think we'll bid it a fourth time, I think we can make these numbers work, and we're still working on some cost savings or value engineering items with the contractor to get that price down under budget, and we're committed to keeping it under budget and not exceeding that original 1.9 million. As it stands right now, we have about 1.2 million, and there's a breakdown sort of the big ticket items. The trail contract at $343,000. The entry and parking improvements were about $258,000. Access roads for park maintenance and emergency access, $261,000. Trail material sourcing, this is the crushed concrete that we bid out, the purchase of that at $168,000. Our storm sewer package is really the one we're still trying to whittle down. It's $262,000, but it was, the last time we bid it, we were over $300,000, so it's going in the right direction. Then additional prairie seeding quotes that we have for $82,000, and then we have some outstanding design services that we owe our design consultants, our environmental consultants, of around $42,000. Holding an allowance for signage at $50,000 puts the total right now at just shy of $1.5 million left to spend. And as I mentioned, we are just shy of $300,000 over budget right now. But we are not under contracts on a lot of those things, so we're still working through those prices before we lock in those contracts to get this where it needs to be. And we're also actively looking at different corporate partnerships that may help us bridge that gap, different grant opportunities, different funding opportunities that would not involve asking the park board or city council for more money at this time. We're looking at those other options that may be available to us. But that's where that is. The other large project that we're working on that's really just a master plan at this time is the reuse of the old street garage. So we're working through a master plan process to figure out what we want to do with that property. We're working on a master plan contract of $51,000. There is no construction budget set on this at this time, but the funding of this plan is already funded through our brownfield grants and through our active living funds that are existing. And again, there is no construction funding for that future construction budget at this time either. So this is definitely a project that's in the future, but we are trying to figure out what we want to happen there over the course of the next 5 to 6 months. So again, redeveloping the park. Completed tasks, we've done all of our phase 1, phase 2 environmental. The site is safe and clear for the redevelopment that we want to do there. We had our kickoff meeting last week with V3 Design, that's our design consultant. And we talked through various ideas on different park amenities that might want to be seen there. And this was with a sort of a steering committee of myself and the planning department, the parks department, the mayor's office, as well as Jessica Lawler from your board was at that meeting as well. So we had our first kickoff meeting. A lot of the conversation was about how we want to engage the public through online surveys, through public open houses, through community engagement opportunities, possibly going to the park events, the pool, leprechauns games, other sporting events around town, the daddy-daughter dance, possibly putting surveys and information in the utility bills. So looking at a lot of options of how we can engage the public and figure out what the public really wants to see there. Right now, though, we're really in that sort of putting that schedule together, gathering data for the designers that will help color those pictures, and moving that forward. There's notes from that kickoff meeting in the package as well I gave you if you want more detail. Other projects, pickleball court and Admiral Longley Park fishing pier. Nothing really has moved forward with those at this time, other than we are engaging a couple of design firms to get proposals for that design work for the reconstruction, the full reconstruction of the pickleball courts, as well as the construction of the Admiral Longley Park fishing pier, which will also include trail connections to get people to that safely, and probably look at some of those steep slopes on the west side of the pond where we can protect those as part of this project. So we only think it makes sense to make this a holistic project and not just drop a fishing pier in the lake at this time, but look at how that interacts with the public. Other projects that really aren't on the radar in terms of delivery right now, but we're also tracking things like additional paths at Admiral Longley, frisbee golf, play equipment upgrades at Abner Longley, Memorial Park drainage, and of course the Reese Park parking lot area or paving of the parking areas at Reese Park. So that's my report. As I mentioned, there's attachments there, the updated maps, a more detailed breakdown of the budgets for the bike park, as well as in the notes from the street garage meeting. Any questions I could answer?
I have a couple questions for you.
Sure.
When the pickleball court, we've had different conversations about that over the years. Are you thinking, I mean, I don't know this yet, about the location? Is it reconstruction of the existing place, or is there consideration for having them moved?
That's what I've understood from conversations with John and the park staff, is that we're talking about a full removal and reconstruction. With new asphalt, new nets, new fencing, in the same location as the existing pickleball courts, but reconstructing them all. And I think the hope would be is that we could have contractors on board here in the spring and be doing that work early summer, so we don't lose the whole summer season waiting on these courts.
Well, it's interesting, because I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, but my memory was that we knew they needed to be done. They've been needing help for a while. And we had held off of moving forward, I thought, because of the consideration for eventually expanding the water park, at least part of the conversation.
That was my understanding as well before I kind of got engaged with John and talking about this, and he assured me that the master plan for the pool was not going to impact the pickleball court location, so he wanted to move forward with that current location. And if I'm wrong, of course I will check in with John, and we're involved with discussing this with him on a regular basis. So if that is something we were planning to move it, and I misunderstood that, we can quickly.
Just hesitant to put money into it because we thought that was going to happen, and we're like, you want to know the real location's going to be before you
Understood.
go that route. So I just.
And certainly if there is a different location, then you don't have to take the old ones out of service, and there really is no gap in people's ability to play pickleball. So.
Yeah, I think it's gone both ways. I think we thought about moving them, and then we thought, well, that the water park expansion was so far down the line, and the cost of moving them versus
Okay.
fixing, it's gone all different directions, so.
Yeah.
But the cost of fixing them, but they definitely, I mean, we've been putting a Band-Aid on them for years, and
Yeah.
it just isn't safe.
Understood.
Then, back to the Stone Eater Bark Park, a question for you. I drive by there every once in a while. Can we, go in there and look around? I mean, I don't want to.
Feel free. There is a stone construction drive that you can easily pull into. I will say this time of year, if you get off of the gravel, the stone construction drive, it's real wet. So I would probably avoid getting off into the dirt unless it freezes again really hard. But it's pretty soft and pretty soggy out there right
So it's
now.
okay for us to check it
Absolutely.
out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, people
I'm
do all the
curious
time.
about it. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, when we talk about the budget for it and how we're short still and all that.
Yeah.
So are there other funding sources being explored? Where are we?
Absolutely. We had a grant from the CVB, the Convention and Visitors Bureau, that was supposed to be paid over time. And really that grant was given to us in 2021. So it was supposed to be a 5-year process of collecting that money. We've only collected one payment from them. So that was one source, and that's not included in this budget scenario, is can you go ahead and give us the rest of the $75,000? We've got we got about $15,000 in pledges that different organizations have made to us, and we're trying to get them to make good on those. We're reaching back out to some of the large potential corporate partners that we had, which was different various bicycle manufacturers and people like that, to see if they wanted to rethink that idea now that we are moving forward with the park. We've even thrown out ideas of potential crowdfunding opportunities and seeing if we could possibly develop some revenue from those. But no stone unturned. If you have an idea of who I can talk to, I've reached out to representatives of Rotary and Kiwanis. We've presented the project to them in the past and asked for potential donations. We've never received a donation from either of those organizations, so those are opportunities as well that we're following up with. Yeah, so we're doing all we can, and if you have an idea of who we should talk to, let me know.
That money tree, we need that, don't we?
Yeah.
It has to be a passion project for some,
Definitely, and we have, opportunities for those partnership opportunities, those corporate partners, or even family partners. If somebody wanted to make a donation to honor a family member or to honor a family, we have those opportunities, and we have those spelled out on the park website on what we can do with those opportunities. Most of the donations we've had so far have really not asked for anything other than, name recognition on the signage, which we're happy to do, but there's lots of opportunities there that could be realized if somebody wants to.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, on the playground equipment upgrades at Abner Longley, we're using, Kiwanis donated the money
That's my understanding, yes.
to do that project. Billy may know a little bit more about that. 'Cause
And I think
there
that's primarily a project you're anticipating performing with your own staff and with volunteers. So
Right.
there's probably not a whole lot of design or bidding or anything involved with that, but standing by if you need any help with anything, so.
Well, I don't believe they've purchased or bid. Do you know, Billy, if they bid out the playground equipment?
I don't know, never got that one. All I did was get them the size that they were gonna put it on, and the way I understand it, they was in the process of getting it.
Okay,
That's my understanding when when working through the list of projects with John, that was a
Okay.
a Kiwanis donation and a work day project.
right, a
that,
community project.
Community
I think.
project, thank
Yeah.
you, good one. And I was reached out to by, I reached out to the Boone County EDC to see if they had any potential corporate partners that might be interested in coming alongside us. One thing they said they would pass that on, but one thing they also noted is that they are planning another day of service in the fall. I believe it's October 3rd. And I think they're calling it Boone's Best Day is what they're rebranding it. So we did work with them in the fall this last year for a park cleanup day, and we're so we're hopeful that we can do that again with them if there's still a need. But we may have the park open by October, so we'll have to wait and see.
Wow. Now, I know Lily had mentioned when they were here doing their volunteer day that they had grants within Lilly. Have we checked into anything like that?
I have not yet, but
Okay.
definitely, obviously, they're on the list.
Yeah, they
so.
communicated that they had several that they thought we would qualify for
Mm-hmm.
to help us do some of the things because they did
Okay.
like the parks.
Who
so.
are you working with at Lilly, if you don't mind?
I'd have to get the name from John because
Okay.
I had a name and John talked to somebody different while
Okay.
they were here.
There's so many names and faces there.
Absolutely.
And,
And the one I had wasn't the same one he had, but that
Yeah.
person specifically talked about grants that Lily has.
that's great.
Kevin,
So-
I can get you a name of someone that we're working with. I don't want to say it because I don't know if I have the full name.
Yeah, no, we
So
don't
I'll
have to
get
say it
Dr.
here in the
Millman.
meeting. Okay.
But they've been very generous with us, with helping us launching a STEM program at the elementary level.
Oh, great.
And, they donated some funds to help us with robotics. to
Okay.
Get a robotics club
Yeah.
going.
Yeah.
So we're really excited about that. I just thought of something someone mentioned to me this week, knowing I was going to a park board meeting, that I just now remembered it. They said they were going north on East Street and approaching, like, as if you're going to go to the entrance of the park.
Yeah.
There, and instead they were, I believe, going to make a left-hand turn, and there's a crosswalk right in that area.
Right.
And they said it was so dark there that the lighting that we have put in doesn't cover
Doesn't hit that corner
particular
well?
area,
Okay.
and they were concerned that if somebody was trying to cross right there at night, that it was really, really dark and hard
Okay.
to see. So I have not gone back and driven it at night yet to check it.
Yeah.
But I thought I should mention that.
Yeah.
Something to at least take a look at.
Definitely, and we did a lighting project on East Street last year, and obviously John did a project in the park year
the lights
before.
have been great.
So I think we've got some circuitry in that intersection or near that intersection where we could possibly put another light out there if we needed to, and we're ordering new lights for new projects all the time. So
I just thought to take a look at.
yeah, absolutely.
And do we have any ideas on the Reese Park paving? Or are we,
We haven't gotten too far into that. I think, one option is to pave over the gravel parking that was
Right.
created there. That was actually created, ironically enough, with the East Street project. The contractor on the East Street project needed a place to take some extra stone, and we had an opportunity there. I know John has also thrown out some ideas of larger parking areas that he'd like to create that would be not sort of perpendicular parking along the street, but a parking lot further up into the lawn areas there. It's a little difficult, so we're working through sort of those options with him because there's so much floodplain associated with
right, that, I knew that was a
with those
problem.
fields. There's not a lot of buildable area there, but definitely we're exploring all options there. Nothing's off the table at this point.
Okay, I just want to keep that moving if we could,
Absolutely.
please.
Anything else?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is new business and Damon Crease to talk about Eclipse.
Hello, Damon Crease with Lysa. I realized earlier this week I really just needed to talk with John, so I shot him a text message earlier, and then I was told that he was actually on vacation. Really, we were just kind of looking to see what the options were or what was being done at the other parks to. I knew nothing about this eclipse, but I've been told people are going to come from everywhere and just like flood our town. And we were just concerned about people coming in and like seeing a big open field and driving cars onto it. So it was really more just a conversation with them to see if there was any extra signage of like, no parking or don't drive on the grass type thing. So that's really about it, was just to kind of talk to them. But my first instinct is just to come and talk to you guys, and so I was saying about it. And it's more of a question for John and Billy and them, and to see if there's just extra signage or what we can do just to make sure people don't just come in and start driving into open fields and tearing up our nice park and all of our nice grass. So that's really about it.
Okay, I mean, Kevin.
Yeah, just a few things. I'm not directly involved, but there's a lot of conversation about the eclipse. And if you look at some of the reports that we're hearing of what happened the last time there was eclipse, and you extrapolate those out, we could see numbers 50 to 70,000 visitors over that day, possibly over the weekend. I was again talking with Joe LePage in the mayor's office because he's kind of the gatekeeper to all the events, and there are events planned with them. There are events planned at Memorial Park, Abner Longley Park, the fairgrounds, the field house. There are, I think, 8 watch locations. In fact, I think they just posted a map today on the city's social media feeds on where those locations are. Reese Park wasn't one of them, but
where people are going to see a big open field on like
Yeah.
maps and.
And I think that's valid, because if the tide of people come that could come, and we are sort of the first exit on 65 inside the path of totality, that's why we're preparing for this. I mean, we've ordered hundreds of portalettes, we've ordered dumpsters, we're thinking about all these things. We're working with public safety on how we get people in and out of the town. We're advising restaurants and business owners, and Joe is having regular meetings with all these people that weekend, especially that day, and these events go all weekend long from Saturday through Monday when the eclipse is. But on the day of the eclipse, if the traffic happens like it's forecasted to happen, you might not be able to get deliveries. You might not be able to get employees to your places of business. It might be really tough to get around the city. You can imagine when we go from a city of 17,000 to 70,000, what that does. It's a lot, so there's contingency plans, there's the police department's bringing in more bicycle patrols. They've told all officers they're working that day. There's a lot of preparation going into this. So I would recommend talking with Joe and seeing what can be done there. And John, of course,
And
too.
work with the park staff to
Yeah.
see, because if we can't keep people out, but we could keep vehicles out. maybe.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
People, fine, I just don't want cars.
And that's kind of what we've been warned against, and so they're even preparing, like, to have portalets on standby if there are, if 1,000 people show up at the Walmart parking lot and want to watch the eclipse from there, we better have a place for them to use the restroom.
Yeah.
And so they're thinking about things like that. Menards is thinking about possibly an event or possibly closing that day. Schools are closed that
Schools are
day.
closed,
The
yeah.
county offices, I believe, are already scheduled to close. Large events downtown as well. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on. So, yeah, the eclipse is going to be like something we've never seen before, especially if the weather's good. But it's also May or April 6th, so it's
Damon, is it in the budget to, if we want to get caution tape? Because I know the poles exist, the signs exist, so if the park is okay with it, we could do the work and put up the quick caution tape.
Lisa.
You're right, LISA.
yeah.
Yeah, to be able to take it out of the hands and even the work out of the hands. Now, I will say, and to your point, I'm working remotely that day because I have no expectations of being able to leave
Yeah.
and work. So I've already got permission to work at home on that day. So we can set it up, take it down,
Yeah.
take it out of the park's hand completely. They would just need the approval from.
It's
I
been
just-
described to us as plan as if it's a blizzard, that you're not going to be able to get out of the house that day unless you're walking or biking.
The tape would be okay, but if there's something a little more, I
What
don't
she's
know the word.
talking about is the conversation we had this week, because school properties we're concerned about as
Yeah.
well, because we have large spaces,
Right,
know,
right.
And they were thinking about, it'd be nice to be able to put up something, but if there really are mass numbers of people, caution tape's probably not gonna hold them back.
That's what I was thinking, if we could get something more.
Right. And if there are,
Able to keep
I kind of
vehicles
want them
out.
to be able to get to those parking lots and find a place to get off our streets. Because we've heard horror stories that people will stop on the interstate to watch this thing.
Oh, I'm
That it
sure.
is
Safety hazard.
it is a safety hazard. And obviously the state police is getting prepared for this, but, yeah, we've heard this is a very unique, very special, a lot of people describe it as an almost spiritual event, making people wanting to stop on the interstate and watch it. But
I'm just thinking if there's anything more substantial, we're not going to keep crowds out, people, but to keep vehicles off the soccer field.
agreed, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
that would
like the
probably be
blockade
important,
type.
especially in
Yeah,
early
police.
spring, you know.
Yeah.
and-
We'll be one week into our season, so if they come in and tear it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you might want to think about, do you have games that weekend? Okay, it could be difficult to run games that weekend. It shouldn't be as bad on the weekend. Really, the part that we're really worried about is, 5 PM on Monday, the eclipse is over and everyone has to go home.
Yeah, that's going to be.
That's going to be the difficult one. So,
Well, and in your conversations, has there been talk about how the internet can handle this for even calls? and things like
I know people are making those calls, like, can we get more portable cell towers brought in so that, I don't know if the grid system that runs our cell phones will work if 70,000 people are trying to use their phones. I have no idea, but,
my comprehension.
but those are conversations. Yeah. And so I can tell you, yeah, the organizers, the police department, the sheriff's department are thinking about alternate ways to communicate in case cell phones do go down. So, especially when you think about 70,000 people streaming the eclipse, and
Yeah,
it's a lot of data, so.
okay.
Has the committee had their meeting yet? I know they were supposed to have one in February,
The Eclipse Committee?
yes.
I checked, yes, they've had several meetings. I think they've been meeting since October.
Okay, well, I went to the first one, or one of them, and I turned my name over to the pastor, so.
Oh, yes,
they
that's right.
should-
I was there for that meeting.
Yeah, they should be, but that might be a good place for
Yeah, that's why I
information,
say
too.
check with Joe. I think they had a meeting last week. I wasn't able to attend, so I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was last week. And so there'll probably be a more frequency of meetings as we are, we're getting close to 2 months from that date now, so.
Okay.
Yes.
Be interesting. Okay. I'm just saying, if you guys can if we can come up with something more substantial than tape, because of that many people, that tape isn't gonna keep their
Like I
cars
say,
out.
we have no plan of stopping people from going on
No,
the
the
field.
people aren't gonna do that, but the vehicles.
I mean, we could do, because we thought about buying that anyways, that snow barrier, that orange snow barrier fence that
We
you
can do
see, because we
that.
want to cover up the creek from balls going in for the big field. So we'd be able to reuse it regardless. So yeah, we could probably, next week that we have our meeting anyway, so we can discuss, yeah, more
I just
permanent
don't
options.
think the tape will keep them out.
Yeah, I plan on being out there anyways.
And police tape?
That won't, 70,000 people, I don't think so.
What's the timeframe of the actual, I forget.
Oh, God.
Two something.
It's like around 3-ish in the afternoon, but
Close
Three,
to 5.
3:40
I think it
or-
starts about 2:30 and ends at like 3:15.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah,
I-
but it's like a way, it comes in and goes
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see it start, become like dusk, become dark. I think darkness lasts for like 3 minutes, and then starts getting light again,
It's not that dark.
So, it should be amazing, and hopefully we have great weather for it. But
Now, that would be good.
April in Indiana, though.
Yeah, you never know. Never
Could be
know.
snowing. Okay.
Predictable.
Okay, Billy, are you giving the director's report this evening?
Yeah,
Oh.
yes, I am, ma'am.
Okay.
All righty. Evening. The maintenance has been busy with winter maintenance, painting the park office and installing new partitions at the Abner Longley bathroom and the Memorial Playground bathroom. We're kind of dressing them up a little bit. We've had some snow removal was huge in January, thanks to our great staff being on top of it. We have a bunch of good workers there. They were out in that really cold weather taking that out. They're
It was
a bunch of
cold.
good guys and lady. In a few weeks, we will be trimming trees and brush back on the Big Four Trail, as well as doing work on Stone Eater Bike Park. We are currently accepting applications for Seashore Water Park. Applicants must be at least 15 years old by the first day of work. You can find an application online at seashorewaterpark.org or by stopping into the park office. We will be hosting open interviews for Seashore Water Park staff this Saturday, February 10th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the park office. If you aren't able to attend this Saturday, we will be hosting another session on Saturday, March 2nd. We are partnering with Cookies by Debbie to bring a cookie decorating class to her cabin. This will be held on Saturday, March 2nd at 1 p.m. Please register on our website. Cost is $15 per person. We recently share a lot of information on our 2024 Eclipse events through our social media and on our website. The events will take place on Saturday, April 6th and Monday, April 8th. Please visit our website to give our office a call for more information. We will continue to keep the public updated as we get closer. Our 2024 Easter egg hunt is set for Saturday, March 30th. Be sure to mark your calendars. We will have a special needs hunt beginning at 9:30 a.m. And the other hunts will begin at 10:30 a.m. This is a free event. We hope to see you there. The special needs one will be on asphalt,
Oh, good.
okay, so that anybody can be there. We just wanted to get that out because last year, a lot of people didn't understand that we would have that so that they could wheelchair around and everything.
That'll be good, yeah.
Any questions? All right.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Okay. If everyone's had a chance to look at the claims, I'd entertain a motion. We approve the claims.
I make a motion that we pay the bills.
I'll
Okay, I have a-
second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. If there's nothing else to come before the board, or if anybody has any questions, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion to adjourn and a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carried. Thank you for joining us this evening.